Every fall, millions of monarch butterflies from throughout North America converge on 14 small sites in the fir forests of central Mexico to spend the winter.
I've seen pictures of this where the trees are just drooping from the weight of the butterflies, and it's something that I have always wanted to see in person. And so today we're in Mexico City, and we are going to take a trip out to the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve.
So it's 5:45, our Uber just got here, and we're heading to the meeting point of the tour.
At 6 a.m., even the world's 8th largest city is quiet and still mostly asleep. Once we arrived at the meeting point, we waited for a few more of our traveling companions and then set off on the 4-hour journey. Along the way, the sun came up, we saw a variety of Mexican towns and countryside, and we encountered some dense fog. From the signage, it seems like the fog is common on this stretch. We booked our tour through a site called Get Your Guide, but the company we ended up traveling with was Azteca Travel Tours Art, and our tour guide Peter spoke both English and Spanish. About 3 hours into our drive, we finally made it to Zitácuaro, the closest large town to the reserve. Up until this point, the drive had been mostly on highways, but from Zitácuaro, the roads got narrower and windier, and those last 20 miles took at least an hour. Finally, we reached the sanctuary gates. So it is 10 o'clock and we just got here. The road on the way up to the reserve is very curvy. At the beginning, there's a bathroom at the parking lot, and then as you walk up the path to the ticket booth, there's all kinds of market stalls and things to look at. When you get close to the actual reserve entrance, there are vendors selling walking sticks, a sign of what is yet to come. But first, more shops, souvenirs, and food stands. Before we even reached the actual entrance, Peter pulled us all over to look at a tree, an oyamel fir to be exact. Oyamels are endemic to the high elevations in Mexico, and they're preferred by monarchs because they aren't sticky like the pine trees that also live here, and because they're strong and flexible.
And they can easily hold the weight of 100, 200, 300, 500 butterflies. They can all cluster together, all warming up, like we can see in the pictures here on the left side, without the branch breaking.
Finally, we reached the actual entrance, where Peter paid for our tickets and the serious hiking began. There's no way to avoid hiking entirely, but there is an option to take a horse most of the way for an extra charge. Butterflies need the warmth of the sun to fly, and on a cold or cloudy day, most will stay clustered in the trees. After having our first tour canceled because of cold weather and even snow, it seemed like we'd scored a perfect butterfly day. The skies were blue, and the sun was quickly warming things up. Today, the colony is about an hour and 15-minute walk in. The location can change overnight, and so that's one of the reasons why having a local guide with you is important. Over the next hour, we walked up and up and up. First on steps and then dirt paths, stopping periodically for more butterfly facts and to catch our breath.
So this is the favorite breakfast of the monarch butterflies, because the water settles on this flower, and then afterwards they can use the nectar either from this plant or the purple plant that we see on the right side.
It's been about an hour that we've been walking, and we're starting to see a few. I think we're about 10 minutes out from the main colony, and so they're just starting to wake up. It's a sunny day, so it looks like hopefully it's going to be a good day for butterflies flying. Once you get close to the colony, they ask you to be quiet, and despite the crowds, the best way I can describe the atmosphere there is reverent.
So it was around noon that the sun started to hit them and they started to like wake up, and that's when the forest just began to turn orange. And it's pretty amazing. It's almost like dead leaves is kind of what your brain's telling you. So it's amazing to think that it's monarchs just filling the forest.
As we've stood out here in the forest, you'll hear wings flying by, and it's just a general noise of wings in the forest, and the trees are just orange. It's amazing. Seeing this quantity of butterflies in one place is breathtaking, but as I researched what they do to get here, it became even more incredible. When the monarchs leave this forest in the spring, they'll undertake a round-trip migration that cycles through multiple generations. Since the average lifespan of a monarch is 2 to 6 weeks, it can take 3 to 4 generations to reach the northernmost part of their range in Canada. When the weather starts to turn cooler, it's time to head south, and you'd think it would take 3 to 4 generations to get back, right? But no. When the temperatures start to drop, this triggers the development of a super generation, which actually lives 8 to 9 months, which is long enough to fly to Mexico, overwinter, and reproduce. And those are the butterflies that we're seeing here in Mexico. If that isn't amazing enough, it's been 3 generations since these butterflies' great-great-grandparents left Mexico. None of these butterflies who have flown from as far away as Canada have ever been to Mexico before. We know they use the sun to navigate and also have an internal magnetic compass, but how they find their way back to a place they've never been is really still a mystery. There are 2 distinct populations of monarch butterflies in North America, a western population that breeds west of the Rocky Mountains and overwinters in coastal California, and the much larger eastern population that we're seeing here, which overwinters in central Mexico and then disperses throughout the eastern US and Canada to breed. The oyamel firs where the butterflies congregate over the winter are a high-altitude species that grows between 2,400 and 3,600 meters and relies on fog and dew, common here, to provide the moisture they need, especially during the dry season from November to May. These strict requirements limit the forests to just a small number of scattered mountaintops throughout central Mexico, and only 2% of the original cover of oyamel fir forest is still intact. When you're here, there are so many butterflies that it's difficult to believe that the species is in decline. However, since the 1990s, this population has dropped over 80%, and the western population by over 95%. As of December 2023, monarchs were listed by the International Union for Conservation of Nature as vulnerable, but this status doesn't offer them any protection. Legal status depends on country. As the overwintering ground for a large percentage of the entire monarch population, Mexico has done a lot of work to restore and protect the oyamel fir forests and have recognized monarchs as a species of special protection. The Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve that we visited is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a place where monarchs are legally protected. Because this is just one point in the migratory cycle, albeit a very important one, conservation can't be limited to the forests of Mexico. It has to reach throughout their entire life cycle and all along their migration path. It's clear that monarchs need help from people throughout North America. Milkweed is the only species of plant that monarchs lay eggs on, and the only food the caterpillars eat. Milkweed used to be common in and around fields and roadways, but with agricultural processes that lead to more complete clearing of these plants and the use of herbicides, milkweed has become far less common. However, a lot of U.S. cities have started developing programs to support monarchs that encourage planting milkweed and other pollinator-friendly native species in natural areas and adjusting how agriculture is managed. A lot of individuals have started planting milkweed in their yards, too, and even signing up to help scientists collect data through citizen scientist programs. There are a lot of really reasonable things that we can all do, and hopefully together we can turn the tide for this graceful species. And if you're interested in seeing the overwintering areas in person, we would highly recommend it. You won't regret it. It's one of a lifetime kind of trip, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we ended up doing it with a tour group, which we're usually not tour people, but due to the timing, we kind of booked it almost last minute. And then there's also timing as far as when you arrive in the sanctuary. You want to get there when the sun is hitting the colonies and the forest is waking up. And the tour made that happen at a very reasonable price.
To wrap up, we hope that you've learned something new about monarchs. And if you are planning a trip to the Monarch Reserve, we hope this video has been helpful for you in that way.
Yeah, and if you made it this far in the video, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments or questions, we try to reply or answer them all. So until the next video,
enjoy your travels.